Good evening, Jason.
Good evening.
Good evening, Gunner.
Good evening.
This is episode 4 of season 2 of Beyond the Curve. The MX podcast goes off road, and we're discussing Mondon Hill. There was a lot of good. It was a lot different than a normal race, but it's the FTR season. It's the one-off event. It's kind of like a Erzberg for FTR.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about it. Gunner, we'll start with you. What did you think of your first trip to Mondon Hill?
I mean, it was okay.
You ever seen anything like that? No. Yeah, it was different, right? It's a track that we just don't get to see in Florida.
No, there is really nowhere else.
No. I saw the videos from Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
There was some good technical stuff. It is what it is. I was there Sunday to watch you race, and I'm sure we're going to dive into that. Again, Jesse's got to do better in his timing. He keeps having to do extra lap that no one else does.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah, he did a lap all by himself. He came in at an hour and 58.
Oh.
And it's like, maybe you need somebody a couple minutes down the road to like, they didn't make it. You can stop.
Well, I mean, he needs to run as long as he can.
Yeah, that's true.
He's about out of time.
Getting prepped for GNCC. So, for you as a new kid on a big bike, what did you think of the overall trail?
It was good.
Yeah.
There's really nothing wrong with it.
Just a little more technical.
Just different than what you're used to.
A little different technicality. We can definitely say it's not Florida Sugar Sand.
No.
Hey, bud. We have the old man Shadow joining us tonight. He's our 14-year-old watchdog, blind
I
watchdog.
will send Gunner with you in just a minute, okay? I will send him with you in just a minute.
For you, for the morning race, they added a lot of mileage. For you, the technicality, all the sections that they could throw in were in there.
And then some.
What did you think of, not the course overall, the technical sections? How did you like that beginning?
What, off the start or?
Not off the start, but the first part of the lap, that section. I know it was rough at the start because there was a lot of backlogs, a lot of we'll talk about that, but that overall, a lot of times we go through it, but they really utilized it.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really care for that slow creeping along, going up, going out. Like, I find it boring. Like, I don't see the purpose of it. Like, run us up the big hill and let's go, and we'll drop off the other side down the track somewhere, and like just the creep in second gear, just doing this and I just don't really personally care for that. It's not really I can do it. Yeah. I just don't really care for it. As
a fan, it's fun to watch.
Oh yeah, it's fun to watch.
They had some nasty corners, some nasty off camber corners. They had some I call it double pumps where you literally climb and then immediately climb.
Yeah.
And I thought, as a fan, it's fun because you can go to a little area and see a whole bunch.
Yeah.
One of my dreams was that you go to a section and you can see a lot of track. And I know it was shorter sections, but from the starting area all the way to the conclusion of the motocross track, as a fan, you could watch
you can see
whole area.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say, as a fan, that was awesome.
No, I agree with that. I mean, for spectating, it's pretty decent. And I saw them both days, like, they'd let you wander out there a little ways.
Yeah.
Not all the way, but a little ways out there. So
they kind of keep you out of the pasture area.
Yeah.
But they'll let you go up to almost to the bridge area, to that first crossing. You can get
well,
out
there's
past
people on the other
track.
side of the fence line.
Oh, really?
Like where we cross over into the woods.
Yeah.
There's people out there a little bit.
But Mondon Hill, I think we're going to get into Jason's feelings on it. I have a couple just from as an outsider, but I really did try to read a lot of comments, and the best thing I can say is they utilized the entire piece of property.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very unique course. They're glad they got to race it one time. one time,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of and those are not negative; those are positive statements. But like, okay, we did it, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like a NASCAR going to a street race. Cool, we did it. Let's get back to our roots. So this is definitely the Monaco, the Nuremberg, the Erzberg. You name your race series. This is different. It's gonna test you in a different way.
Yeah.
So, you didn't have as good a result as the first race, but do you think you learned anything you can take to the next race?
Did you learn from your that you had?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we found a good Saturday video, and we went through it, and he showed me where his incident was.
Okay.
And I was able to see everything and like fast forward and look. And so we were able to, okay, this happened. If this happens again, this is what you do. So it was good that he could actually remember where it was and show me, and
that's cool.
Fix the issue, because the issue he had is like the circumstances of it for them especially is a very common thing, and the solution is a very common thing. It's just knowing, okay, this is okay to do. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But now you do.
Yeah.
And you learn from it, and you're ready to strap the helmet back on and get back to it.
Yeah.
Which is next weekend.
Yep.
And congratulations to that club for making the effort to make it more accessible for people to get in and out of.
Yeah. I've seen the pictures. I'm curious what the road actually, I mean, you know what the road is, but what the road is made of is, I don't know if it's
what we made our barn road out of. It's pretty solid stuff, and it gets better as it goes along. It looked like that, like a shell road base type stuff.
I'm hoping that's what it is, with something good underneath. But if it's white sand mixed in with that,
no, I think it looks like what we did at the barn. And the only problem we ever have at our barn is we have some trees that overhang that cause like erosion, but it's still hard. So it may get bumpy, but it's hard.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about that unless you cut the trees down.
Yeah.
So it looks like what we do, kind of like a road-based shell clay mix. And, but it should be fine, which is good. And as cold as it's been, we probably are going to, if we don't get any rain, we're going to have no ground fires and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I know we're supposed to get rain supposedly here Saturday?
No?
Saturday or Sunday. I don't know how much it is, but supposedly I haven't looked to see what they're calling for down there.
All right. So we touched on you. Saturday, from what I got, the track was a lot of fun, exciting. Sunday was a beast.
Yeah, it was out of its norm. It wasn't. It's typical. A little extra.
Let's start with this.
Well, let's start with me. So that way, anybody that is watching it, there was many factors, and we actually discovered another factor after I washed the bike. So there was two mechanical factors.
Okay.
But I had my little with him on Saturday in practice, which I did finally have some bruising and stuff start coming out.
You hurt yourself.
Yes. Basically, riding practice with him, I just hit one of the little tabletop, just playing, not even paying it, just riding. When I landed, my foot hit the rear brake, and it slammed my chest down into the throttle housing, and obviously that hurt very bad. There are still marks there. There's bruising there. It's all right here. It has gotten significantly better over the last several days. The first few days, like if I tried to, I could sleep on it because of the pressure holding, but you could feel several lumps in there, and those lumps have slowly kind of started smoothing out.
So there's one issue. You're already hurt.
Yeah.
Self-induced hurt.
So that happened. The front brakes locked up on the bike on the motocross track. It started. Didn't realize until I hit the woods as to what was happening, but on two of the jumps, the bike did this very badly. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I'm like, okay, whatever. And then as soon as we went in the woods, it just all of a sudden it locked and like the bike is screaming and I stopped moving and I'm like, the brakes locked up again. Because this has been an on and off issue with this bike since it was bought 2013 brand new. We've had issues with the front brakes. And it's gone kind of from one extreme to another back. The bike was fine Saturday, and then all of a sudden Sunday, now there's we're pulling the Brembro master cylinder off and replacing it with a Nissan from a Honda, which is what most people have done, and it fixes the issue. So we're going to try it and see and get rid of those overpriced brakes that are very finicky. The other issue, because it was doing weird things especially out in the fast stuff, come to find out, brand new spark plug, half the tip on the inside was broke and disappeared.
Oh.
Yeah. So it wasn't obviously igniting off and lighting right. So the bike wasn't even running right. So it was. And then you add all the pieces together and it's like.
And you were just grumpy.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done with it. Like this is nothing was working right.
Yeah. Well,
Good start, and then shortly thereafter it just started going to shit.
So had you not had those three things, would you have just muscled on through?
Probably.
Yeah.
I would have. It is what it is,
Yeah.
But
it's not worth getting hurt over.
No, and that's what I explained to him. I'm like, look, you're not quitting. If you need to stop, you're either bleeding, something is broke on you, or obviously the bike is screwed up.
Yeah.
Outside of that, you keep going. I'm like, Daddy has to go to work on Monday. Daddy's already screwed up. Nothing is going right. Like, let's just call it a day before something stupid happens, and then you're really screwed. So, yeah, I mean,
I broke my rear brake pedal in Okeechobee one year at the start. I don't know if a rock hit, but the spring and it broke and it dangled. And I reached down to go into the first corner and realized I wasn't slowing down. And I raced the whole race with only front brakes.
Yeah.
On that track, it was fine.
Yeah.
And I actually had one of my best races because once I realized I couldn't touch the brake pedal anymore, I started working on the brake, and it was like, okay. But I don't know on that track if I would have felt the same way.
Well, and that was the thing, like...
And you had the front brakes gone. And, And in the sand, when they're locking up, you're just knifing.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're in a normal Florida situation, to me, like, you're just, you let off the sand, absorbs your speed.
Yeah.
But you can go in, you can drag, and you slide, stuff like that. But, like, out in the pastures, and to me, like, with the downhills where, like, you're going down, like, you really need to stop and pivot. With back brake, you're just sliding. You have nothing to actually make you kind of stand up a little bit. So, and spots where I would normally go faster and use my front brakes. Well, if I don't have no front brakes, I can't do what I normally do. So you just kind of, all right.
It just adds to the grumpy butt.
Yeah, it just adds to the whole situation, and it sucked.
So you made it a lap, though.
Yeah.
You did make it a lap. You got to see the whole track.
Yeah.
You got to...
I rode the whole thing Saturday, so I saw all Saturday, and then I got to compare it to Sunday.
Now, would your thought process change a little bit if bike is running better? If bike is fine, does your thought process change on it?
Minuscule.
Okay.
Minuscule.
All right. And we'll touch on it. His thought process is he didn't like the track. He didn't like the fact that you went turn versus...
It had no flow. In my opinion, it had no flow.
Yeah.
They overkilled what they were trying to accomplish, which was basically just add mileage, in my opinion.
And that track has... Because there are some sections, that track has been super flowy in the past.
Oh, yeah. And like their Saturday track, which was right at 9, had good flow. Like it was good.
Yeah.
And obviously, because everything is so tight there, if you know where you are and you know what you're looking at, you know where different sections are.
Yeah.
Well, there was parts of the Saturday track where we're going and I see arrows on both sides. So I automatically know what Sunday is going to be. But, okay, if your Saturday track is this and you have this section here, okay, well, you add this. you add this, call it a day. There's your extra, and it makes sense. What they did, in my opinion, didn't make sense. I know some people loved it, and I think they just like it because it was different. Not necessarily that they liked the track itself. They liked it because it's different, which I get that too. But so is, in my opinion, like Lake Butler. That's different.
Yeah. We
go here. That's different. You go here. Like, there's different all around. It's just to what degree you want. That's more non-typical at all of Florida, just like Hard Rock used to be.
Yeah. The start, I've begged and pleaded that the starts not be so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by jokey, you say it enough, so we'll just dump you in the woods. And they literally, I watched video after video where everybody went into the woods, and it was just a cargo train of mess because you went in and you didn't come out for a while.
Yeah.
And if somebody made a mistake, there was nowhere to go. So thank you for not making the world's fastest start. But wow, that was watching the morning race. Once we got into the lower B and C guys, man, there was carnage. There were bikes everywhere.
Yeah. Just like I saw a video, it was the start of the beginner race, which was 60, 80 people, whatever it was. Yeah. And just like same thing. It was just that's a lot of bikes to shove into some of those small areas.
And I don't know. I know that they wanted to, and I don't fault this club. That's an area that they can highlight. That is. I mean, there was at one point many years ago that we used to. Well, I didn't, but people would jump up on certain sections, and that's where the original the claw came from. Yeah. So they wanted to highlight it, and I don't know. We had talked about, and we're literally spitballing stuff. Could they have not just looped everybody around the first lap and maybe had a shorter lap and done it that way?
They could have, and they could have, because that's what they did with them, and then they looped them a different way with the quads. Because the quads didn't touch the motocross track, which that was a whole big discussion too. I don't know if you saw that.
I heard about it.
Yeah. And there's been years past where I can't tell you when, but we have done that a couple different times where they bypass certain spots off the start because of that reason. And then second lap, you come through the chicane and you tie back in and you jump into those.
Yeah.
That makes a little bit more sense to me, in my opinion. Like,
I didn't mind the direction they went on the start this year. I didn't mind that at all. I remember one year I was racing and we literally started in that same general direction, but we jumped into the woods that were just to the left, at the start. And there were people coming. We were all over the place. Yeah. There were like 6-7 lines, and you're like, whoa, hold on. But I get it. The start seems to be the tricky. I mean, I complain because sometimes Bartow seems like too fast, and then we run the same start every time. Mondon Hill, you tried something different, and I don't know, man. I think with that many people in that tight of a confines, I think it was almost, if you got out of it,
it was still a fast start because, like with my line, we were 4th gear.
Okay.
So it was still a fast start. It was just short.
Yeah, and then everybody stopped.
Yeah. You literally, you're stopping and you turn in and then do this and then come back out, turn back in. So.
But as a rider, hit or miss on that start.
I like it when they've done it facing the other way.
And you head to the slag stuff?
They've done it, I can't remember, one year, probably the best year they did it, we started and went north, about the same.
For those directionally challenged, that's the slag pile of the lake.
Yeah. We started, we went, they turned us right before the slag pile. So they turned everybody, went towards the lake, turned again, ran along the lake, back up that direction, and then did all that, and then jumped onto the Daytona. That direction to me seems a little bit better You have more room. Everybody kind of gets spaced out before everybody gets thrown into everything. And it just keeps shit from happening, basically.
Yeah.
For my start, at least I did better on it.
Yeah, you did.
Did they take them all the way around the claw area and then into those S turns? Is that where they?
So they did the start where they turned to the left at the end. They turned them there and then turned them back in between where you.
Oh, I saw a pattern.
Yeah, where on this side you had the double step up,
Yeah.
and then this side where we came up and dropped down, they turned them in between all that, and then turned them out right there at the step up section. That heel, they came out there and then went straight to the motocross track.
Okay. All right. And then what they've done 100 times is on the quad side. They just run down that path.
Yeah, until they went into the woods. Yeah.
So they have a long run of.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So the start, I think it was a miss. I like the attempt. I think it was a miss.
Yeah.
I think that start will work with a few tweaks. Maybe taking out some stuff for the first lap.
Yeah.
But I know that's what people want to see. So it's one of those
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think there's, from what I gathered, there's been a little shift of who's in charge of what. And I think that's why there was some, I don't want to say serious issues, but legitimate issues. Because you have people trying to do stuff that really don't understand what they're doing. So.
But another big draw.
Yeah.
Another big draw.
Yeah. I would say it's a normal turnout now.
Yeah.
No, maybe, well, the quads, there was only a few more. Everybody else seemed about the same.
Now? All right, safe travels. But yeah, it's always fun. You kind of know the year's kicking off at that point.
Yeah.
But I guess we did have out there in I call it the old Burnout Grove section out in the field.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the sugar sand got a couple people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a unique piece of property. I know that you had some thoughts, and I think the abruptness of turns, and I know it's a hair scramble. Enduros, we get used to that.
Yeah.
But hair scramble's a little more flowy. And I did what you asked. I went and watched the Saturday video, and the track was very flowy.
Mm-hmm.
Very flowy. And I knew Sunday's course was long when the leader on the first lap did a 32-minute lap.
Yeah. And for Barry, that's, I would say that's probably a solid 3 to 4 minutes longer than what he normally does.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a significant amount of time.
Yeah. Well, they were running faster in the 14-mile track or 15, whatever track that was.
Yeah.
So that shows you the tightness of it.
Yeah.
And there were fast areas on that track.
Yeah. No, there are. You can get up and move, but you get up and move, and then all of a sudden, now you're rock crawling.
Yeah.
And then you'll hop out and you'll go a few hundred feet and get up to speed, and then it's just up and down, up and down.
So, but it's also one of those pieces of property. I don't know how many different directions they can actually run it. This year, you said that we were all up inside the 500, which usually we just come zipping around.
Yeah, we've never been inside of it.
I thought there was water in there. I didn't know there was.
Well, there is in one spot because there was one mud hole.
Oh, okay.
That was. I'm like, well, that in a few laps, that's going to be pretty deep. And I'm sure it probably had more water in it at some point.
Yeah. I saw a couple. We can always count on Sean Fouch to have his input. He's. I mean, when you drive an orange Corvette, you kind of have a different mindset.
Yeah. He's retired.
Yeah. He still thinks there's an abundance of cheating going on. And he says that you can see it on one of the videos that people cut the course.
Yeah. No, like I said, if you know where you are, yeah, you can cut out quite a bit. And if you do it right, like, nobody's wiser. Yeah. But it comes down to lap times. Like, that's the thing. Like, you can cheat, but if all of a sudden, especially if you go back and you start pulling results, you got a rider that all of a sudden is, this lap he's 2 minutes faster than everybody. The next lap he's this. But you go back and you start tracking them, and it's like, well, on this race he was 10th, and now all of a sudden he's second. Like, you may not be able to prove it, but the times don't lie.
He went to the Moto Academy. He's faster now.
Shit. They don't work like that. Not when a 50 or 60-year-old C rider shaves off 2 or 3 minutes. Like, it don't work like that.
Any positives from the weekend?
I mean, it was fun. We stayed at the Hilton at Croom, which has been all remodeled. Very nice. Little pricey considering the area. Like, to me, used to hotels were, if there was something there or a high-end area, you're going to pay a higher-end price. If you were in just an average area, you pay a lower price. Now it kind of seems like it's just standard across the freaking board.
Yeah.
It don't matter where. There could be nothing around you except for the hotel. You're going to pay this price. Yeah. But it was a nice hotel. We ate at Cracker Barrel, which was, the last time we ate at Cracker Barrel sucked. This time was actually really good. Had an Asian waitress. She was spot on and, like, great right out the gate. I think her name was Jenny. Not her real name, but her Cracker Barrel name was Jenny.
Cracker Barrel name was Jenny. I was like, are you going to a strip club or are you Cracker Barrel waitress named Jenny? Now that area, I know it's not motocross mecca, but it's that area is kind of motocross central. It's funny, we had a race going on and you see all these people heading into Croom to go ride.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, you could go race. Like, you could go race.
We don't need more. We need less.
But the disappointment for me was, usually during this race, there's always some massive dog show happening at some fairgrounds, and I don't think the dog show was happening.
There was something there.
There was something there, but not the dog show, though.
No, because I when we came back Saturday, coming back, when we passed, I looked down there and I saw tents and stuff, but it wasn't like all the way out to the road like it normally is.
Yeah, usually like.
But we're also a weekend behind.
Oh.
Because normally we're there the first weekend of January.
Oh.
Now we were the second weekend, so that's
maybe
probably
we missed the dog show.
Yeah.
It's too bad because those were always special nights when you spent the night in the hotel, knowing you had to get up early in the morning, and there's some Yahoo out walking their dog or grooming their dog, and all you hear is yip 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 yip. But overall, I think attendance was good. I will tell you this: we're turning into a really cool vendor village.
Yeah, there's several more people that have showed up. I don't know who some of them are, but there's more showing up, and
it's neat. I think that's neat. You can go walk around and actually, we were just on a mission. But I told Michelle, I even made the comment to Michelle, like, wow, this is actually turning into like a true on like vendor section, which awesome. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how many other local sports things have their own like true vendor village.
Yeah.
So good on you guys. Thank you for doing that. I think one of the food trucks, they are spot on for always thanking the people for coming out and eating with them. And, if you don't bring your food, don't fret. Go eat. Go eat. I remember one of my competitors when I used to race in Super Senior C. I'd be at registration and he'd be getting breakfast. Yeah. And he's like, man, you got to get some of this breakfast. It's good. So, I mean, good job, Mondon Hill. I'm sure you will get insights from everybody that was there, the good, the bad, the ugly. I think overall the track was fine. I think maybe some tweaks and just
But from one of the comments I saw from one of the people in charge of the weekend, the way they made it sound is next year is going to be even more of what, I don't know, but like they put a bunch of work into this year. Next year is going to be even better. It's like, well, what else are you going to like?
Yeah.
Stop.
Are we going to park out in the pasture and race in the other field? Like,
I mean, you actually could.
can we get to that pasture? It'd be cool if we could park out there and see the field sections.
Yeah, it'd be a pain in a truck. You could get to it. Motorhomes would be a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Because I have often thought, like, dude, it'd be cool if we could do something. It's too bad that we can't, where the Pee-wees were, we can't utilize that. But I know we have to go over the road and all that. And it'd be a pain in the butt. But I've dreamed of that since going to that property.
Yeah, but it's really not. I mean, the pine thicket that they use is a pine thicket, and the up down section they use is it would be like the rest of it. For the couple front rows, it'd be fine, and then it would be a disaster after that because it's actually pretty steep. Most of the stuff in there is pretty legit. It's just a lot tight. It's very tight, like it's on top of each other.
The dream, and I don't know if you've ever paid attention, when you're leaving. So on the way in, when you're leaving, right before you get to the right-hander, sweeping right-hander that takes you back out, there's this beautiful disc golf course that's now been put in. But those hills, I'm like, man, that would be a really cool place to have. Because I don't know what's on the other side of it, but that area.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive down 60, and that right before you get to the railroad tracks, I think both sides of that would be an awesome hair scramble track too. But I always think about that as we're leaving. But man, this area up here, I did not realize how much water they have. That's crazy.
It's never been like it. But I mean, there's been several times they've gotten way more rain than we have, and I think with the storms. And then the rain we got after the storms, I think it just
because that area,
with them being hard packed, it's
just sitting there.
Yeah,
that area. So you're coming to the track, and right before you get to the track, there's that little valley, and there's a couple houses. I've been coming to that race and seeing little kids out riding where it's now a lake.
Yeah,
and they had a little track out there, and now it's like I don't know 7-8 feet of water.
Yeah, and there's a couple houses there. They had to be underwater at some point.
Yeah, so. For as much damage as in that area, the fact that the course was able to be run pretty solidly, I'm going to give props. I'm just going to say it wasn't my favorite start. I loved it as a fan watching the carnage. I'm sure some of the racers were not happy with the carnage at the beginning because as a racer, you have, oh man, my race is over with. Yeah. Because you're exhausted.
And that's the shit part of it is like, you can get screwed and have nothing to do with you, and it's you. But per the rule book, and it goes back to knowing where you are. If it's bottled up, all that's locked up, and you can't go nowhere, bail off and just completely go around it. If somebody wants to try to say something, be like, it says right here. Yeah,
I will say there was a guy that did that. There was a huge on that off camber. Before you kind of left that section, he was locked in. Like there was 3 bikes on 3 different things. There was nowhere to go, and he just kind of came beside us, went around that mound, came this way, and he immediately got back on as soon as he got in front of them, he got back on the track, and it was like I was waiting for someone else. I'm like, okay, guys, let's go. And
that's the thing. If people would actually read the rule book on some of that stuff, they would understand. Like you can do that. Yeah. You're not cheating.
And he didn't cheat because he literally, as soon as he crossed that part, he got to a spot.
And he hopped back on and kept going.
Yeah. I mean, he lost time, but he didn't lose more time. Yeah. The only funny thing we had, I'm sure it wasn't funny for the guy, but we were standing right before you went up the big uphill. You had that uphill turn with the mound on top. Yeah. And guys were doing that awesome, coming up. Pivoting, turning, and this older gentleman, he was coming to it, and another guy came up a little faster and just racing incident. Nobody's fault, but front tires always lose. He got to the top, and he stopped, and it would seem like forever, but I'm sure it was about a second, and all of a sudden, well, the bike stopped. Yeah, he somersaulted back down to me, and Michelle's like, "Go check on him." I'm like, "Okay, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And then he got his bike up, and I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to, because you're on the hill, and I'm like, "Do you need help?" So I'm just holding his bike, and he's like, "I'm good." And he just put it in gear and walked it up, and I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, we were already entertained, but thank you for the the gym." I don't know who he was. Very nice man. I feel bad for you, but you went on and hopefully had a good race. But that section, being able to just watch that much at one time, I was amazed at the speed in the little S curves before you hopped on the motocross track. The speed guys were getting in that section for as tight as that was. Guys were really booking it. So also, I saw something I've never seen there. There was a gigantic gator in the lake.
Was there?
Yeah. He was sitting up on a little mound, just sunning himself Sunday
Just
morning.
watching.
Yeah. But probably 8.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He's just never been.
But the funny thing is where did he come? I know there's a lake way out back.
I walked through the woods.
Can you imagine running across that? Like you're just out and all of a sudden there's just a gator walking through the pasture.
No, you don't need that chair. You're fine. Go over there. Go out there with the doggies.
Yeah, go sit on the couch. Harass Michelle.
Yes.
But no, I was just like, oh, there's just a gator out there. But I've been going there for, I don't know how many years I've been going there. I've never seen a gator there.
I haven't seen the donkey the last few times.
No. And the donkey was, I always liked, I have pictures of me with the donkey there.
Yeah.
So, my relative. But, so that race was kind of a wash. Will we try the 200 again, or is the 200 going to go in mothballs for a while?
No, I've done a lot of reading, a lot of research, just racking my brain how to fix things, and just kind of mutual decision of we're just going to leave it alone, fix the brake issue, obviously, and use the bike for specific little things, but me trying to actually race it now. I basically, without going crazy and start really experimenting, I've outgrown it. It won't do what I want it to do.
Well, you have 2 race bikes.
Well, I have one.
I mean, you have 2.
Well, my 450 is sort of. It's not ready. It's a practice bike.
It's a gas, so it's fun.
Yeah. I mean, I can just switch number plates and go.
Yeah.
Which I probably will at some point.
So will you run the 250 at the Palm Beach or the next race?
Yeah, I mean, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next track, what's that? What do we expect at that track?
As long as it don't rain, we're good.
Is that the Ruxbury one?
Yeah, the one that flooded last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which it will be interesting because of what happened and what they had to do to fix it.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the property actually looks like, because it's not. I mean, obviously it's going to look the same, but it's not going to be the same because of how much tractor work they did, how screwed up everything got. I figure it's going to be a little different.
Yeah.
Which will be good.
Be different. Yeah. I can only imagine what that flooding from that waterway brought into that field, because that field already stays wet.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that field's.
But even the parking area, like, because they went out there with a tractor and did a lot of box blade work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because of how screwed up it was. So it's the only shitty thing it's going to be is how dry it has been.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be dusty, but it'll be dusty, but it'll be different, but it'll be the same.
Yeah, that has been a fun track. And when they added that section on the west side of the property, that kind of added a whole different dimension to it. Because we used to not run that. We used to just run, but that's added a whole new dimension to it. So I'm looking forward to being another fan and coming down and watching.
Which that one has good spectating too. You can see quite a bit.
Yeah, all field sections, but it's fun.
Yeah,
good field sections. Some fast stuff, and you're always going to get the dugout areas. And by the way, for those of you that might not know this, those dugout areas, cut across them, across them. Don't get in them. Cut across them, and all of a sudden you'll pass a whole bunch of people because they'll all be stuck in them.
Yep.
So, last time I remember being there was last year when it was pouring.
Yeah.
The year before, Jet did a practice lap, which is crazy to think. Or was it 2 years ago? 3 years ago, maybe, because it was crazy to think like this kid who's now literally did a lap, and it was nasty.
Yeah.
And he came in clean and did an entire lap.
Yeah.
He was there with Jack and
because I rode last year,
Zach Osborne.
the year before that.
I was racing, I think.
Yeah, I can't remember which, because I know there for a couple of years I did pre-modern there.
Mm.
And then I came back to Sunday for last year, I think the year before or something like that. It all kind of runs together at some point.
But good fun track. It's easy drive. For those of us in Central Florida, hop on 27, go to 70, and just go until it says turn right.
Yep.
You're going to pass a giant sod farm that has these big gates, and you know you're close.
Yeah.
So easy trip, kind of easy peasy.
Yeah.
Anything exciting going on in the off-road world?
No,
You're always up to date on this.
Just everybody's ramping up.
Saw Ryan Sipes was actually named the manager.
Yeah, Ryan's working and doing his thing.
Is KTM really going to Club MX?
What, the off-road
team?
I have no idea.
I read something about it, but I didn't dive into it. I've been kind of busy with my new job.
Yeah, I don't know. I know. So Stu's doing his thing. He's racing. They're testing. His mini rider is on a 250F, so he's moved up. That's the only one he's officially announced, but I know there's obviously a few more.
Yeah.
With Beta, it's Strang and one XC2 guy. That's it. Everybody else is gone.
And Strang is also the manager.
Yes. Caleb and Liam Draper. Ricky Russell's gone, but Ricky's riding Triumph for Enduro Engineering, which is odd because Josh Toth, who won all this stuff last year, was riding for Enduro Engineering, and he's just disappeared. I haven't seen anything on him, which I thought was kind of odd, like why he would, or they, whatever, separate. Like, I just find that kind of odd. I haven't heard anything on Grant Baylor in months, so I don't know if he's done, there's something wrong with him. Like,
didn't he ride for Babbitt's?
Yeah, but he just disappeared.
Oh,
like there's nothing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then KTM, we don't know what's happening with them. We know they have a team, but we don't know what's.
Well, you got Johnny Gerard, you got Ben Kelly. Who else was there? There's somebody else, and then you got the Landers team. That's the XC2 side. But I mean, they're racing, but
I heard that KTM said they have to cut. If they cut, I can't remember, 100 teams. Or
yeah, I saw. I read the same. Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because for every one rider, it was like 4, 5, 6 support people, which to me seems very excessive. So like, you go to cutting and okay, well, I cut this guy. Okay, well, that's this much. Well, he's got a following of say 5 or 4, whatever. Yeah. Well, you go to add that up. Well, that's this much. And then you cut enough. Eventually it adds up pretty quick.
Yeah.
But it goes back to, well, why does one guy have 4, 5, 6 people? That's very excessive to me.
Especially in the off-road world. They don't pit at the same time. You could
yeah, like if you have a motor guy, okay, your motor guy is motor guy for everybody.
Yeah. They don't race every week, so they're not.
Yeah. So I don't know. They're still going. I mean, Caleb, I watched the one interview with Caleb. So it's funny. Everybody's interpretation of what happened is different. And maybe I'm just overanalyzing, but like I'm sitting there watching it, listening to it, and kind of reading between the lines of some of the things he said. And I don't think it was just, I want to come back and race. It's not that. I think he was on the chopping block, obviously, because it's in the interview. He even said, this whole thing started months ago. So months ago was prior to the announcement of. So he was told months ago, hey, this is what's going on. We're cutting it. Which obviously interrupts his plans.
Yeah.
His financial income is now all of a sudden stopped, which I'm sure his thought process, what he raced all these years. All right, I will do this now. I'll do this for 5, 10, whatever it is, and then I'm good. Well, all of a sudden, that's done. KTM would not hire him back to do what he wanted to do. So his only option is, all right, I got to start shopping. So he went to Yamaha, and Yamaha's like, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And I haven't read it, but I saw a few places where like it's contracts for like guaranteed like 2 or 3 years of racing, and then after that it's got different parameters and stuff in it. So I mean he may take over where Randy's been. Randy may retire.
And also I don't know. Does Yamaha still do their? Oh, who's the guy that has the reins?
Yeah,
that literally got.
Yeah, he still
rigs
does that
on both sides and does the ride days.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point he's probably going to want to not do that anymore. So
yeah, I mean he does that, but I think he has. I don't know how big of a staff that helps him, but
yeah.
So it's not because he's not always where that stuff is. So I think he's got a little leeway of what he's able to do.
So we have Triumph entering.
Yep.
We have Beta staying.
Yep.
Do we have a Husqvarna team?
Landers is the XC2 KTM side. The gas side is it's not Coastal. It's somebody else. I can't remember the name of it.
I saw that.
It's Ashburn, and they hired basically an unknown XC2 guy. Which when they announced that, there were several people that were like, "Why did you hire him over other proven guys that are out of rides?"
Maybe it was cheaper.
I mean, that is always a possibility. I can't remember the freaking name of the team, but it's somebody else doing the gas side.
So is Coastal out?
I don't know.
Because they've been around for a long time.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I've seen a couple Huskies, but I don't know if there's just guys riding them or they're part of something. I don't know.
Because we have Kawasaki. We know we have Kawasaki through Stewart.
Yeah.
But we don't know about Babbitt's.
Yeah.
We don't have Sherco. Sherco's doing arena cross, which is wild. We have...
Well, I watched I watched the first 3 to 5 minutes of an interview with Cody Webb, because obviously he had been with Sherco for several years. And the interview was him going to Yamaha, why he left, and basically he's like, it boiled down to they cannot do what they say they can do. They ain't got the money. They make a whole lot of promises they can't keep. And they're a second tier brand, basically. They'll sit there and we're going to do this and do that, but when it finally comes down to it, it's like they can't do it. So obviously, if I had to read between the lines, just like Strang, there's probably some money involved that was not they can't pay them because they ain't got it. And the owner or the owner importer of the U.S. side, he's a nice guy, he's great, and he even said, they have some people in positions that shouldn't be where they should. So you go to adding all of it together, it's like, all right, well, you're going to kill those. They're going to kill the brand.
Is Beta, is it also Liqui Moly on the off-road side, or is it? Okay, so that's their...
Yep, it's all one thing.
Okay.
Yep, it's all one thing.
Okay. So are they going to be based out of California?
Yes, that's where they are right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because KTM's been out there doing their crap and stringing them. I don't know if they're out there right now, but they have been out there and did pictures and all that.
Oh, that's a haul. I mean, I'm sure they'll have an East Coast presence.
Yeah, well, because they have their Supercross guys. They have an East Coast deal, but then they have a West Coast deal as well.
Okay.
Which they only have like, I think it's 4, 2 GNCC and then 2 West Coast like works guys or whatever.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal.
So and then Yamaha has what it is. So it's Honda. Do we have a Honda?
There's still Phoenix because Tyler's riding for them on the women's side. I don't know for sure who's on the bikes, the XC2 and XC1 side for Phoenix.
Okay.
But they are still there, yes. Which she was at Brooksville.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
How'd she do?
She got 3rd in A Open.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. I'll never forget, I got passed by, I think it was Chris Borch. One day they were racing motorcycles.
Yeah.
And they raced the afternoon. I think they raced A Open. And it was when I was still in the morning or in the afternoon. And they came by me and I thought, I didn't know these guys knew how to ride.
Yeah.
They were pretty fast.
Yeah.
They were pretty quick on a motorcycle.
Yep.
So I think it's fun when some of these national people come and race, and when a young lady can go compete with the men.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. So Supercross starts this weekend, Anaheim 1. I know that's not the focus of this podcast, but I'm just excited that I get to start watching some Supercross. And then next race for us is we have this weekend off and the next weekend we race. So, and then it's kind of like pretty much every 2 weeks for a while. Isn't it?
No, it's spaces back out. I mean, we've only got 4 or 5 left.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
Yeah, so
We're done early.
short season this year.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't mind it. I don't.
Only 11 rounds?
No.
9 rounds?
9.
9 rounds.
Maybe 10. I know they're trying to squeeze something in at the end, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, I don't mind it. It makes it, from a financial standpoint, when there's something twice a month, every month, just bam, 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 especially when you have 2 riders and you go to trying to fit everything in, like it can be a pain in the butt.
And it also opens up the availability to go do some other races, other series, other stuff. So, I mean, we don't have much more on this episode, but we definitely want to cover Mondon Hill, the uniqueness that it is. We go back to this track's been around. I remember when this was a Mother's Day. They called it the Mother's Day race because it was on Mother's Day a couple times. And going down to Ruck's Dairy and Okeechobee, and that'll be the next round, and we will cover it as soon as we can. After that race, we'll have a couple of Supercrosses, and by that time, it'll almost be GNCC because they start in February.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'll start covering that.
Yeah.
So, well, Jason, I'm sorry it didn't go well for you.
Yeah.
It was much better attitude today, 5 days later, than you had Sunday while we were talking to you.
Yeah.
I
wasn't bad. I was just it continued on with the ride home because Minnie said something. Because every race up until now in general has gone good. Like everything's gone good, and then all of a sudden, just almost everything that can go wrong just freaking go, and it just goes to shit. And it's just irritating. And you just add all the pieces together, you're like, what the fuck?
It was just a good weekend, bad day.
Yeah. Didn't get hurt, but got hurt.
Yeah.
It was good for him. It was a good weekend for him. He got exposed to. Saturday was way more technical than what it's ever been in the past. He got exposed to it. He made it through practice on his own. Like
he had to go by himself because
I ended up in front of him and I didn't realize that I was in front of him. But he, just like the other ones, he's done it on his own. So the next race at Okeechobee, I'll just let him ride practice on his own. Have at it.
Well, because there's a chance you could get injured if you go out there and putt around and hurt yourself.
Yeah, it's possible.
So, very good. And we will report on it. We'll see. It's going to be a very different track from this. Might be the time, because I know there was someone, hey, can I run an MX-14 in this track? And it was like, there was a resounding no.
Oh, at Brooksville, it's no.
This one? Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to run an
anything
MX-14,
sand-based, run it.
you can run it all day long.
Yep.
So this is a very sandy track.
Yeah.
And even the muddy parts, it's going to be fine. So
Yeah.
MX-14 or anything like that, the Maxxis, the Pirelli, you name it, run it.
Yeah.
You'll be just fine.
Yep.
So for Jason Crowley, the Invisible Gunner, I'm Trey. This has been brought to you by Full Service Property Management. This was Season 2, Episode 4 of the Beyond the Curve, the MX podcast, the Brooksville wrap-up. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.